Nick is a former American soldier who now finds himself locked inside a Japanese prison. One day, while doing his usual job mopping the prison floors, a group of 5 Yakuza inmates walks out of the bathroom. One of them gives Nick a long, hostile look as they pass. Nick heads inside to finish cleaning, but what he finds changes everything. Hanging from the ceiling is a Yakuza inmate who is moments away from death. Nick rushes to help him and shouts for the guards. Instead of offering assistance, the guards beat Nick for interfering. They claim the man was caught with a hidden letter meant to be smuggled out of the prison. As punishment, both Nick and the injured Yakuza inmate are thrown into solitary confinement. As the cell door locks behind him, he stands alone. This is the outsider. Inside the isolation cell, the man thanks Nick for saving his life. He introduces himself as Kiyoshi. Then he quietly reveals his escape plan. He intends to fake a suicide attempt so the guards will be forced to take him to a hospital. His Yakuza brothers will be waiting there to rescue him. As repayment for Nick's help, Kiyoshi promises to ask his clan to free Nick as well. Time passes, and we see the prisoners working in the mines, digging for metal. During the communal showers, it becomes clear that some Yakuza inmates still want Kiyoshi dead. Later, when everyone returns to their cells, Kiyoshi begins his plan, stabbing himself with a sharpened metal rod. Nick calls for the guards and confirms that Kiyoshi is still alive. The guards rush in and remove Kiyoshi from the cell, just as planned. After this incident, Nick is unexpectedly released from prison. He is picked up by men sent by Kiyoshi and taken straight to their headquarters. There, Kiyoshi and the entire Shiramatsu family welcome him. They express their gratitude for what Nick did inside the prison. Kiyoshi then asks a man named Orochi to find work for Nick within their organization. Orochi gives Nick his first assignment, collecting protection money from an American who owns a local business. Nick accepts without hesitation. Before starting his new life, he is taken to nightclubs and gambling dens and even given money to relax in a hotel. While there, he meets a beautiful beer server named Miyu and tips her generously, unaware that she is actually Kiyoshi's younger sister. The next day, Nick begins his first mission with Kiyoshi by his side. Kiyoshi waits outside while Nick enters to confront the business owner. The man refuses to pay and claims he has already struck a deal with the American military who will protect him. He also says he does not care about any rules set by the Japanese Yakuza. Nick responds by grabbing a television and beating the man until he can no longer resist. Later that night, Nick and Kiyoshi head back to the club. They drink, laugh, and enjoy the moment, but the atmosphere changes when a group of Yakuza from the Seizu clan walks in. They are direct rivals of the Shiramatsu family, and they have come looking for trouble. They start bragging about taking over the factory Nick visited earlier. Then they move on to mocking the Shiramatsu clan, saying their leader is old, weak, and no longer feared. They even insult Nick, pointing out that the clan has lowered itself by bringing in a foreigner. Nick does not take it well. He grabs a bottle and smashes it over one of their heads, nearly sparking a full fight. The Seizu group eventually backs off and leaves. After that incident, Nick is rewarded with a luxurious home and is officially welcomed into the Shiramatsu family. The next day, Kiyoshi brings Nick along to deal with gambling dens that have refused to pay their taxes. One of them is owned by a man named Kimura. After a long conversation, Kimura insults Nick by calling him a white dog. Nick beats him to the ground, and Kiyoshi finishes the job with a far more brutal strike. They take the money and walk out. The story then shifts to a cafe, where Kiyoshi's sister Miyu is dancing while completely drunk. Kiyoshi worries that Seizu members might show up and harm her, so he tells Nick to take her home. On the drive back, the two share a long, quiet look, and Nick finds himself drawn to her. Once they arrive, Miyu invites him inside and tells him to stay the night. Nick accepts and grows closer to her. The next morning, Nick meets Kiyoshi for a new mission. This time, he must buy weapons at the docks. He has to go alone so the American military will not suspect the Shiramatsu clan of illegal arms deals. If something goes wrong, Nick will take the fall. Nick drives to the docks, hiding the money inside the engine compartment. When he arrives, he finds the weapons dealer already dead. Members of the Seizu clan step out from the shadows. They know Nick was coming alone and try to rob him, but they cannot find the cash. Their leader orders his men to shoot Nick on the spot. Nick's military training kicks in. He breaks free, grabs a gun, and turns the tables, taking down 2 of the Seizu members before escaping. The following day, the Shiramatsu leader gathers everyone to discuss what happened. Nick admits the failure was his. Kiyoshi defends him, explaining that Nick was attacked and only fought to survive. The real issue is that the mission was leaked, which means there's a traitor inside the Shiromatsu family. No one knows who it is yet, but failure still carries a price. As a sign of responsibility, Nick cuts off his own finger, a painful symbol of Yakuza honor. Kiyoshi follows and does the same for his part in the failed mission. The only one who refuses to participate is Orochi. The story shifts to Nick riding in a car with the Shiromatsu boss. During their conversation, the boss learns that members of the Seizu clan have secretly infiltrated his organization as spies. He asks Nick to inform him the moment the traitor is identified. Since Nick has no family of his own and has been treated as an outsider, the leader decides to hold a formal ceremony to adopt him as his son and officially welcome him as one of the clan's senior members. That night, the celebration continues in a club filled with drinking and loud music. Nick steps outside to talk with Kiyoshi about his growing relationship with Miyu. Kiyoshi tells him to end it, fearing his sister could suffer by being tied to a Yakuza who could die at any time. But when Nick admits he has already been intimate with her and promises he will protect her, Kiyoshi has nothing left to say. He accepts the situation and tells Nick that from this point on, they are truly brothers. The next morning, Miyu accompanies Nick to a tattoo artist, where he marks his body in the traditional style of the Yakuza. With the tattoo complete, he begins fully living the life he has stepped into. Later that night, while riding a train, Nick crosses paths with one of the Seizu members who tried to kill him at the docks. The man delivers a message, offering a profitable stock investment from the Seizu clan. Orochi hears about this and becomes interested in the offer. He pushes his father, the clan leader, to accept it. But the Shiromatsu boss feels insulted that the Seizu leader did not come in person and instead sent underlings. He rejects the proposal without hesitation. Orochi does not take the decision well. Drunk and frustrated, he complains that his father refuses to go to war with Seizu and is stuck in the old ways. Kiyoshi brushes him off and leaves. Orochi then vents his anger to Nick and reveals a painful memory. Before joining the Yakuza, a gangster once extorted him, and when he told his father, the man was too drunk to care and struck him with a glass. Overwhelmed, Orochi runs to the river, where he meets Kiyoshi again. In a grim flashback, we learn that Kiyoshi killed Orochi's abusive father with a metal rod. From that moment, the two of them became bonded as brothers within the Shiromatsu family. Even so, Orochi's temper remains unstable. In a heated moment, he snaps at Nick, prompting Kiyoshi to warn him and send him home. When Orochi later approaches the clan leader, he is ignored, which only feeds his growing sense of resentment. Furious and feeling cast aside, he goes to find Miyu. He nearly assaults her and even slaps her. The next day, during a wrestling event, the Shiromatsu leader meets face-to-face with the head of the Seizu clan. Shiromatsu immediately expresses his frustration, saying he feels disrespected because Seizu only sent a representative instead of coming himself. In response, the Seizu boss offers what he claims is a gesture of goodwill. He says he will protect Shiromatsu and even provide a home where he can retire with his men, since he believes the old leader is no longer fit to rule. Shiromatsu refuses without hesitation. To him, the Shiromatsu clan has always been a pack of wolves, never house pets that sit quietly behind a fence. He walks away and warns Seizu not to push their luck. The story then returns to Nick. On his way back to the clan headquarters, he unexpectedly runs into an old friend from his days in the American military. His name is Paul, and he has just received a promotion. Paul wants to celebrate at Nick's home, but Nick tries to refuse. Paul quickly becomes threatening, saying he will report Nick to the military for joining the Yakuza. With no other choice, Nick agrees to take him home for a drink. But once inside, the situation changes. As Nick reaches for a drink, he grabs a knife and kills Paul before he can expose him. The next morning, Nick visits Miyu. He finds her bruised and shaken from Orochi's attack. When he asks who hurt her, she does not answer. Instead, she tells him she is pregnant with his child and begs him to leave her for his own safety, afraid that staying with her will put him in even greater danger. Nick then goes to Kiyoshi to confess everything. He apologizes for betraying his trust and for getting Miyu pregnant. Kiyoshi listens in silence, then brings out two samurai swords passed down from their father, one meant for killing and one meant for taking one's own life. Kiyoshi explains that he once promised their father he would protect Miyu. Now that she is expecting a child, that responsibility belongs to Nick. He hands the heirloom sword to him, placing Miyu's future in his hands. Meanwhile, Orochi secretly meets with the Seizu leader. The truth finally comes out. Orochi is the traitor who has been feeding information to the rival clan. The next morning, Kiyoshi and Nick accompany the Shiramatsu boss to a tailor shop. While waiting outside, Nick starts to sense that something is wrong. The boss is taking too long. His instincts turn out to be right. Inside, a Seizu assassin is moments away from killing the old man. Nick rushes in, and Kiyoshi steps in just in time to shoot the attacker. But before they can leave, another Seizu squad ambushes them. Gunfire erupts, and bullets tear through Nick's car. In the chaos, Kiyoshi is killed. Nick and the Shiramatsu boss barely make it out alive. Back at the clan headquarters, the shaken leader gathers everyone for questioning. The truth quickly surfaces. 5 members have betrayed the clan, including Orochi himself. When Miyu learns that her brother is dead, she breaks down in grief, and Nick stays beside her as she cries. With Kiyoshi gone and betrayal confirmed, the Shiramatsu family begins a brutal wave of retaliation. One by one, they hunt down high-ranking members of the Seizu clan. The violence continues until the Seizu leader finally responds. He sends a child messenger with a proposal for a neutral, weapon-free confrontation at the docks. Both clans arrive at the meeting place. Shiramatsu demands that Seizu reveal the traitors. The betrayers step forward, and among them is Orochi. Despite everything, the old boss still sees him as a son and asks him to return. But Orochi walks forward and stabs him without hesitation. Shiramatsu's men try to rush in to save their leader, but armed Seizu soldiers block their path. Orochi declares that the Shiramatsu family is finished. He warns Nick to leave Japan and to stay away from Miyu if he wants to survive. Nick attempts to fight back, but he is shot in the leg from above. At the same time, police raid the Shiramatsu compound, bringing the clan to the brink of collapse. The next day, Nick sneaks past Seizu guards to reach Miyu. He tells her about the death of the clan leader and helps her escape. Then he makes a call to the Seizu clan, announcing that he will face them alone. Nick arrives at their headquarters carrying the katana Kiyoshi once gave him. He is not there to start a war. He wants only one thing, a duel with Orochi. Orochi refuses, saying Nick is nothing but a foreigner and unworthy of a Yakuza duel. He hands back the katana. Nick says nothing. He steps forward and swiftly cuts Orochi down, ending him in a single strike. When Seizu soldiers prepare to fire, their leader orders them to stand down. Nick is allowed to walk out alive. In the final scene, surviving members of the Shiramatsu clan gather around Nick and Miyu, now under their protection. With Orochi gone and the old boss dead, Nick is honored and chosen as the new leader of the Shiramatsu family. So the moral of the story is if you mop a prison floor long enough, you might accidentally become a Yakuza boss. Get a girlfriend, lose a finger, fight half of Japan, and still end up promoted. So maybe hard work really does pay off in the weirdest way possible.